Hey, this is Brian with worshiptutorials.com. I would like to start a brand new video series at Worship Tutorials where I or somebody from Worship Tutorials will answer your burning questions, and we're going to call it Frequently Asked Questions or something until we come up with a more creative name for it. That is what it is going to be. So if you have a question for me or for one of us that you see in these videos at Worship Tutorials, it can be about anything. It can be about leading worship, it can be about gear, it can be about do I wear the same shirt in every video, which has been a question that has been asked. No, but almost. That's the answer. Yeah, so you can just ask them in the comments here. You can go over to Worship Tutorials and ask in the comments there, and I'll just kind of keep a list of like, hey, these are the questions that come up the most. So let's jump into it. I've just got some questions. So I've been putting videos on YouTube now since 2008, and I have like 300 and some videos on YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching. The first question that I get a lot is, what guitar do you play in most of your videos? Now, in the early videos, it was a Takamine 360SC, which I still have and I like. I hardly ever play it anymore because now I play this beautiful Martin D35 acoustic. It is probably my favorite acoustic I have ever played in my life. It needs some work, so it might go away for a little while it gets some fret work done. There's kind of a crack in the, ooh, it's getting bigger, I see, in the side of it. But this is my Martin D35. I have an Anthem, an LR Baggs Anthem pickup in it, which I also really like. And cool thing about Martin D35s is they have this three-piece back. They started doing this in the 60s or the 70s, I can't remember, but they did it to save wood, because this is expensive wood, this rosewood that they use on the back. But a cool thing about it is it makes, because they use three pieces, it makes the guitar itself stronger. So a lot of where your tone comes from in a guitar is the bracing that's used on the inside, because you want a guitar to have enough bracing that it holds together, but little enough bracing the top can vibrate. So you kind of want an acoustic on the verge of falling apart at any moment. And with a Martin, the D35, the back is stronger than on a typical, like a D28, for example. So the bracing in the Martin, in the D35 is actually thinner, which is why it is a louder guitar. I've heard Martin say that it's the loudest guitar that they make, and this thing is a cannon. I love it. I just love the tone from it. Martin is my favorite acoustic guitar maker. Taylors are nice, Gibsons are nice, Martins are the best, in my opinion, which is just that, opinion. So next question, do you give or would you give singing lessons? The short answer is probably not, because I don't feel equipped to give them. I would recommend this to you though. If you want to become a better singer, find a vocal coach or a vocal instructor and pay some money to have some lessons. What you want to do is develop good techniques. I had a lot of bad habits when I grew up singing, and I have had a few singing lessons and some coaching, and these teachers have taught me a lot about breathing, a lot about posture. Many times I forget it all when I actually go to sing and I use bad habits again. But you want to develop good habits for singing. So I would encourage you to do that. Seek out somebody on the internet, because they're out there. There are lots of people. Just make sure that they know what they're talking about. So kind of look into their qualifications, that kind of thing. But no, probably not going to do singing lessons. Sorry about that. Last question is, what gear do you use to make videos? Audio, video. I'm going to try and give you a very brief rundown of what I use. The first thing that I use, let's start with audio. In this Martin, in the guitar, I have this is new actually, but I really like it. It's a LR Baggs Anthem pickup system. I think it sounds great. I used to have a K&K Pure Western system, which I've reviewed here at Worship Tutorials. That is a great system. This one's better. I like it more. I run that into a Universal Audio Apollo Twin. The Universal Audio Apollo line is not cheap, but it is awesome as far as audio interface. I used to use a audio interface, a PreSonus, for a long time. I had like a Firebox or FirePod. I've run Focusrite stuff. I used a Apogee Duet, which was pretty nice, but the Apollo is way better than all of it. It is not cheap. As far as interfaces go, it's probably what they would call prosumer level. It's not pro level, but it's a little better than just consumer level. It's worth it. I use some plugins. I don't advise spending money on plugins. I do advise learning to use EQ and compression, the plugins that come built in with the software you have, and I love Logic, by the way. That's what I use, Logic. But I use the UAD API preamp plugin. I use their SSL channel strip plugin. Waves has a line of plugins designed by a producer named Chris Lord-Alge. They're called the CLA, whatever they have. I use the CLA vocals plugin on anything that has a vocal. It's awesome. It's really easy to use. And I use their CLA Unplugged plugin on acoustic guitar. So those are kind of plugins that I use for the audio stuff, and I run Logic Pro. Oh, I record all of my vocals on these acoustic playthrough videos with the Shure SM7B. I love this microphone. It is a dynamic microphone. It's great. And I believe it was used to record the Thriller album by Michael Jackson. Not a bad pedigree there. I also have an AKG 214 mic that I use to record. If I mic acoustic, that's what I use it with. So let's go video. I have a couple cameras that I use. The main camera that I use is the Blackmagic production camera, 4K camera. It is not cheap. I have a budget for worship tutorials, so I kind of make an income from worship tutorials. So I might have a little more higher budget gear than a person who's just wanting to make videos. But it's what I use, and I love it. It's a great camera. The sharpness and clarity and color reproduction on it is better than it just looks better than any DSLR I've ever used. But I also use a Canon 70D, and I just use it because I like photography as well. I have a couple lenses. They're both by Sigma. One is a 30mm 1.4. The other is a 17 to 50 2.8. So if you don't know what those numbers mean or anything about photography or videography, use Google, and I'll see you in a couple months when you emerge from the internet after learning. So that's it. That's what I use for video. I edit video in Adobe Premiere. I have the Creative Suite. I really like that stuff. Lighting is huge. If you want to do videos, spend just a little bit of money on lighting, and you can use your iPhone and they will look great. I promise you. Lighting is key. So I have a lot of lighting set up. You don't see it. I keep looking around because I'm looking at all of it. But I basically use a key light and then a couple fill lights that just fill the room. And that's what I use. And it's the same every time, which is nice because you get consistency. So there you go. And the last question that I answered earlier, do you wear the same shirt in every video? Somebody asked me that and I laughed to myself. Because I kind of do. I have like 4 that I need to buy more shirts, don't I? I need a wardrobe budget here at Worship Tutorials. And maybe you'll see some more shirts in the future. But sometimes I record like a whole bunch of videos in one day. And so I'm wearing the same shirt in all of them. I need to like change clothes between videos. That's a good idea. So hey, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have questions for Pastor Nick Rice or Bradford Mitchell or Brian Fuller, any of these guys that you've seen, Bryce Sheehan, any of the other characters that you've seen in these videos, ask away. And if they don't have the availability to answer, I will answer on their behalf. So thank you so much for watching. Head over to Worship Tutorials, leave me a comment. I'll see you next time. Bye.